Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful. When the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. 13th of May, and I am super excited today. I feel like I'm a little bit behind, but it's because I'm so excited. Honestly, I've just been thinking about this all morning. Well, we've got a really interesting setup here, but I would urge a lot of caution here. Don't get like overly what is the word? We're not there yet, but we're close. All right. So what's going on? Well, in the E-mini, we had this thing right here. Oh my goodness. Wait. We need highlighting this thing right here. Oh my gosh. What a move. So yesterday, where we left off, we were kind of we were in here and we were looking for a bounce, and we did get it, but they didn't really make it back to like the open or anything like that. So then when we came towards the close, they just totally bailed. And then after the close, ooh boy, they just totally puked. Now, when I took that bounce, I was thinking, okay, so we had like 29.10 and 28.85 was the target over here. And then below that, 27. Oh, it's not on here. I did all this work to change my chart, but then I didn't change this one. That's funny. Well, the monthly open was at 28.7125. Okay. Notice that we're above it right now. So this is the key point. I thought that was too far to go, but they just went right for it. So what that means is they're in a spot where they can potentially just go outright short, where all of the time frames match up and the shorts can just fire away. But I mean, we've been close to this area before and it just like magically goes up. So I would not be careful about when you think that you have a trade that is like a for sure thing, right? Because that never happens. That is an illusion in your mind. So, oh yeah, let's come over here. The 10-year actually popped up before the move, so I'm going to be watching the 10-year, seeing if they're doing anything. Oh, we just had some news here. CPI negative spot 3 versus an expected 0. Year over year puts us negative 1 spot 2 versus an expected negative spot 2. So that's not good deflation. Treasury is moving up a little bit on that. Let's see here. Oil continues to just kind of go sideways. Gold up a little. Okay, so that's where we're at. We're going to continue to be trying to read the tape here. They're getting enough action. I might be able to take a trade here in the ES, but I don't know. Let's let these buyers kind of show their hand a little bit, huh? Come over here. Ewo Severin, how are you? Good morning, everybody. Let's turn on the text-to speech over here. You missed the night long. You want to buy the dip, huh? I don't know. The way that they were acting last night when I was looking at it after the close was, especially this dip, like at what was it? So that would have been 6 o'clock my time. So like 8 o'clock Eastern time, there was a pretty good little dip there, and that was just scary stuff. I feel like when markets get irrational, that they can become a little bit more predictable. But there's a certain point at which the markets become absolutely crazy that it becomes so hard to predict. And the price volatility is so much, I just don't want to be involved in it. And what I saw fall out last night really looked like that. Really looked like that. They're like really like right on the edge here. You see it? That 28.7150, see how much is traded there? It's an important price. Well, we should keep an eye over here, right? Oh, and I need how to read on here. That Ewo's messages didn't come through. Yeah, that's weird. Oh, I just didn't have my thing refreshed. That's all. Let's see here. New York Fed accepts $1 billion at the overnight repo operation. Well, that's good, I guess.
Ewo Severin says now they sell the VPOC of 7th of May.
So there's some selling there. Interesting.
Jay Cartucha says good morning, brother.
Hey, how are you? Getting lots of new names lately.
Ewo
I always
Severin
love to
says
meet
on
new
7th
people.
of May was nice aggressive P profile.
Yeah. I don't know if. So, I mean, the thing is when you look back at the profile, you know. Okay, so this move is pretty ugly, right? But I mean, you got this naked point of control at 28.10, and this one was pretty ugly, and they just pulled it out of their butts. So even though I definitely see an area where the shorts can try and push it now, and I'm really surprised that they were able to get there as quickly as they did, I'm still cautious, and like I'm not confident enough in it right now to just be selling 28.68. Well, there they took it though.
Jay Cartucha says did you buy at 2,872 on S?
Haven't taken anything today.
Ewo Severin says just pull back.
Oh, maybe you were talking to Ewo.
Ewo Severin says on short now. Ewo Severin says and up 2,905.
I'm wondering. So there is a little bit of discovery going on here, but there is a little curve in the profile here too. So this is not necessarily a good idea to look for a continuation straight up.
Ewo Severin says if 2,869 holds.
69. If you say so. The child was on my computer last night, and they apparently think that they should change things. Fix that.
Junior says good morning, traders.
Wow, that's really aggressive. Okay. Okay. Feel a little anxious. Broken Italian finances bring back fears of messy Euro divorce, BBG. While betting on a Euro breakup has proved to be a long term loser, Italy's tattered finances have pushed the question back to the top of the mind for investors in Europe. That would be bad. That would be a bad thing to happen. Oh. So I had an okay pick there, but it ended up being a slow spot. So I think I probably should have scratched that one. I was thinking about it.
Says where I can post a picture.
You can't post pictures in YouTube, but you can post pictures on Discord. If
Winston's
you
mom
have
says
to start
good morning,
talking over
speculator Seth and the gentleman who day trade. Is everyone ready for Wednesday?
I don't know. The market's being awfully turbulent. When they might be ready to go down for another bender downturn. Yeah, so if you go to Discord and you start talking in the lobby, then somebody will give you regular permissions, and then you would be able to post pictures there. YouTube doesn't allow regular users to post links, unfortunately.
Iwo Severin says okay, thanks.
Okay, so it looks like we're definitely in a pullback,
Iwo
even
Severin
possibly a
says
buy
yes.
there. Treasuries are moving up.
Winston's mom says I understand Utah has now made bigamy not illegal, so after all of this staycation time at home with wives and children, who wants to sign up for more wives? Do I see any hands raised?
I don't think that it was more complicated than that. It's been a while, so I forget all the details on that one, but I actually think they did the right thing. Because what was happening was that some of those communities were really abusive, and the women couldn't come out and report because they'd get prosecuted for bigamy. So I think they did the right thing. But I don't think that it means that you can just outright go and start having multiple wives. It's still there's still problems with doing that legally. Okay. Curious. Yeah, this might be one of those ones. It hasn't happened yet, but hmm. Let's see the volume coming around in that area right there.
Iwo Severin says plan is that guys from 7th of May could sell into the 2905 again. Starting 2869 or 2851. Iwo Severin says they made Neos panic.
Well, I can't predict. I can't
Iwo
say.
Severin says nice sorry. Iwo Severin says me too, so it is
There
just
we
a
go.
plan. What happened we do not know.
So the way that snapped back was kind of weird. Like they were selling really hard and they just like pulled off the throttle like almost immediately and it turned back up and they're letting the volume catch up. So now it's all caught back up. Let's see if they take another push down or what they end up doing. Brannigan Barrett talking pretty bearish this morning. Florida 1925, something peculiar happened. Everyone woke up from a delusional dream where property prices only went up exponentially. Suddenly, everyone wanted to cash in with no one to buy. Reality bit, property crashed. Every global city is about to see the same reckoning.
Lean Umbrella says hi. Who do you mean by them?
When I mean them, I mean the market, right? Usually when I say them, I mean the market. The influential players that have the largest effect on price in the market is who I'm typically talking about.
Lean Umbrella says thanks.
So see, because of the way that it snapped up,
Main Street Ninja says new here. What are you looking at, S?
Yeah, so I'm taking like really small scalps in S this week. Let's see here. So it looks like we got a lot of new people today. Yeah. So I'm not, what I'm doing right now is really more of a exercise to practice catching spots. So far we've done okay with spots. The first one didn't work out, unfortunately. But we're trying to improve our skill on reading the tape. So I'm not saying that taking a five ticker is like the greatest strategy ever. You're going to pay a ton in commissions and you have to have a really high win rate. And we're shooting for 75%. But that's super hard, and I don't expect to meet that all the time. But that's kind of what we're doing. Normally, I like to trade the 10-year, which is this over here. You can see the instrument up at the top in the windows, ZF, ZN, ZP, ES, MES. So that's kind of how we're playing it. But I really more specialize in the 10-year usually, but the 10-year hasn't been the greatest market lately, so we've been looking at the MES more and more, and we're trying to build our read over there. The 10-year had a little spike up, but they've already come back. We're kind of paying attention to the 10-year because they front ran the big sell yesterday, and they are not to the top of their range. The top of their range would be more like 139.12. 139.12 even might be where they want to go. So if I start seeing some real order flow coming into the 10-year pushing it up, then I'm going to be nervous about what happens over here. But so far that's not happening. They are kind of in price discovery mode, it looks like. Looks like the sellers won that one. That's all they get. Oh, there you go. They're actually still kind of trading a lot of volume in a tight area, so it kind of looks like two large groups of players deciding to play directly into each other after all that. It's kind of interesting. I wonder if the market is going to start caring about this bill that's in the House. So if you haven't been seeing on CN, in fact, let's see if it's still the lead story over there. The lead story on CNBC was about the Democrats' new bill. Yeah, Democrats unveil $3 trillion coronavirus relief
for
bill.
Over a year, just been quiet. I have learned a lot here right from the start.
Well, thank you for speaking up, Gia. I love to know what my lurkers are doing. So thank you so much. I appreciate it a lot. I really do. Anyways, what was I? Oh yeah. So Nancy, they got $3 trillion. When we were saying, $1 trillion stimulus, we were like, that's a lot, guys, right? So we did that. Market is up big. Democrats say we need another $3 trillion coronavirus relief bill. But when you go in and you look at what's in the bill, it's basically like a Democrat wish list. There's a lot of stuff with having to do with mail-in voting. That alone probably kills it. There's loan forgiveness stuff in, like student loan forgiveness stuff in there. Like there's no way it's happening. The Senate is going to squash this thing. So the thing that's been going on. See, the Democrat strategy has been to put something up and then get the Republicans to turn it down and then say, why are the Republicans trying to, hit down the average man? This is the game. There's nothing against Democrats. This is the game, right? But they're trying really, really hard to do it. So I don't think we can take this stimulus bill too seriously. But then it kind of begs the question, well, they tried to do this with the first bill, right? And it didn't work. In fact, it kind of backfired on Nancy. And why did it backfire? I think it was because it was dire at that point. Markets were really ugly and, they were playing politics with it. Right now, I don't think that they feel so dire. You know what I mean? Okay, VIX is up today. Thank you, Bromide. Give him a thumbs up there for sure. Anyways, now the situation at least appears not so dire. So maybe that plays out differently. But then you kind of have to wonder, is the situation really more dire than the market appears? Than it appears from where the market is. You know what I mean? So we we kind of got this thing because I tell you one thing that happens when there's like stimulus in discussion is markets tank. It's like sell it as hard as you can to get the politicians to give you as much as you want. That's totally the way that they play it. That's totally the way that they play it. Oh, is Powell speaking today? Oh, yes, he is. He has a testimony in 7 minutes. Okay, so that might explain a little bit of why it's been a bit more constrained than I was hoping for. Rand Squawk tweets, I hope Powell punks us all. And this speech is about the Bitcoin having like, okay. Anyways, it's interesting to me that CNBC has that as their lead story right now. Like, we just had like super crazy ugly sell yesterday. No real explanation for it other than that it just fell. And the lead story is the Democrats have a stimulus bill. Okay. I don't know. But something to watch, I think. My back has been awfully stiff lately. Okay, yeah. So the 10-year definitely flipped down there. Looks like they could have a bit more to go. Okay. Yeah. It was kind of interesting. You can kind of see when the little flutters of activity come in and they're starting to trying to do something. And then kind of like it just 28, 68, 50 just kind of dies out. They're not really hitting into it like you would want. Ex-Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort released from federal prison to home confinement over virus concerns. Man. Okay, there's the sellers are still there. Got an outside bar. Forex Live tweets friends in high places. No, I mean they've been letting all the criminals out. Why wouldn't he be? Why would he?
Jacoby OG says good morning.
Hey Jacoby, how are you doing? Now the 10-year took a run there and then just came completely back. So do I notice anything in the? No, not really. In the currencies, euro is generally moving up, but doesn't seem significant. What about the spreads? No. Though I thought maybe there was a little bit of steepening coming into the 10 and 30, but it never came out. In fact, the knob itself is really flat. The 10-year and down a bit, and then You know what I haven't checked is the coins of bit. Where is it? Oh, there it is. 9170. Still pretty uneventful. Okay, we got 2 minutes. Little sweep there down. 6:58. 2 minutes. It's only been 15 seconds since I looked at that. Man, time is going by slowly, guys. Time is going by slowly. We need to fill it. I tell you what, here's an opportunity to pick up your own Trader's Gonna Trade mug. Why did the market sell down yesterday? I'll tell you why. Trader's Gonna Trade. Anyways, video description below if you guys haven't checked that out. Because I think it's super cool. I know it's just like shameless promotion, but like, come on. Doesn't that look so cool? I think that it's just, so highbrow. Oh, man. Okay. So they're still kind of fighting over the inflection points. Like, it actually was giving me a short signal there, but it's too messy there. Oh, Donald Trump. Big congressional win in California for Mark Garcia, taking back a seat from the Democrats. This is the first time in many years that a California Democrat seat has flipped back to a Republican. Also, Tom Tiffany beat his Democrat rival.
Trader's Gonna Trade is a very cool mug. Will everyone please hit like for the mug today or whatever you like? Thank you.
Yeah. Wait, the store, you can also get a short, but short. Bleh, short. I mean, you can go short if you want, but we're talking about the shirt. The link is in the video description. Also, Tom Tiffany beat his Democrat rival big in Wisconsin, 2 great congressional wins. I did not know that there was 2 yesterday. I did see him tweeting about the 1. China could set GDP growth at 3% during 2 sessions global times. Okay, here comes his. Okay, so the transcript of his opening statements comes out. They're moving.
Daniel Guillemot says shorts in the store?
I wish. Shorts. They need to do that. I really want them to get polos. They get polos. I think a Trader's Gonna Trade polo would be great. Or like one of those, zip up fleece jackets that they would have.
Severin says American PIIE started grin.
Like they have at the big quant funds. Like they had it. What was it? Night Capital. What was the one that blew up? I think it was Night Capital. Powell says U.S. economy faces longer-term concerns. What this says, Paul Krugman says, what this says is that the feared second-round effects, slumping demand because of loss of incomes, financial crisis, have been contained thanks to things like expanded unemployment benefits and massive Fed intervention. But I think they did contain it a little bit, but it's kind of starting to look like not completely. Okay, so they're selling. Fed's Powell outlook highly uncertain and downside risks is significant. More fiscal aid could be worth the cost to limit lasting harm to the economy. COVID-19 is increasing concerns of long-term economic harm. So he is extremely bearish comments. Just from the news headlines that's coming through, the market is definitely selling it. I need my 5-minute chart. 2839.75 is the daily open. think that what's going to happen is all of these traders that were just getting in on the headline are going to take their profits, and then we kind of see where we're at. They post his full comments right at the beginning, but then he answers questions from Congress, right? So this could be going on. Sean Hannity tweeting that Obama must testify. It's so funny that what we're calling Obamagate isn't even on people's minds right now. Powell says nothing explicitly said on negative rates. Says Fed will use tools to the fullest. Additional fiscal support could be costly, but worth it. Reaction, some upticks in treasuries, downticks in the E-mini, downticks in USD. Yes. Well, the the treasuries are back up to their highs. J Money. Is that what we're calling them now? J Dog. Okay, they're selling. Maybe right there. Not enough. Come on. Cool. That's a good sweep there too. 28.3975. 39.75. Oof. Okay. Significant pushback there. Well, I pushed down again anyways. A little click. Not for pulling. 54. Do you see it? 858 there. They hit into him and he pulled it. I don't think they actually wanted that. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, and there was a significant pullback there.
Winston's mom says Jerome Powell has a cough. Should we worry?
Does he? Do I really want to watch this? I guess we should watch it. It's going to be on C-SPAN, right? If I don't see a, what do we call it? Blah, blah, blah. If I don't see a public source, I don't want it. Because the thing is it's like in the background and then it kind of is like really annoying to me. Live market coverage. Yeah, I guess that's not, I don't see it. That's okay. Recovery may take time to gather momentum, says Chairman Powell. That's all you need to know. Powell is ruling out the V shape for quarter three. Tweets Brannigan Barrett. I would agree. I think he's giving a little bit more on his outlook than he gave us in the Fed meeting a week or so ago. That seems to suggest one picture that some prognosticators were predicting is unlikely. Honestly, though, if he has a cough and they have to replace him, I don't know if the markets would be that upset about it. Some market has a mixed history with Powell, and he's not the most popular Federal Reserve chairman in recent history, right? I miss Janet Yellen. I kind of want to know what Janet Yellen would be doing right now, because she was always easy money, but I also kind of wonder if some of the things we're doing right now are really wise in the long run, and I'm really interested to know how she would handle it differently, and if she would have, reacted quicker to certain things. Okay, these sellers are not giving up. They're pretty. That looks like somebody that wants something. You know what I mean? They got a long ways to go though before it's like short city. Look at that. Ooh.
Kevin Wimmer says Mario Draghi for Fed seat, make Federal Reserve Italian again.
Ewo Severin says yes.
He's available now. That's right. I forgot about that. Oh, man. I mean, he really got out at a fortuitous time, didn't he? Oh, my. Okay, so I'm getting the ticks all over the place now.
Ewo Severin says whatever it takes, in the mouth.
No, I might be. My spot didn't hold. Yeah.
Jacoby OG says is a tick sound alerting of larger orders hitting tape?
Yes. Do you see this guy at 28.46?
Kevin Wimmer says is there a reason for this big sell-off last 20 minutes, was away from the computer.
Yeah, so Jerome Powell is speaking, and his initial speech to the Congress, I guess, was not particularly positive. Let's say bullish. It wasn't very bullish on the economy. Basically, I think Brannigan Barrett's take is really good. He's basically saying that there's not going to be a V-shaped recovery. They're saying it's going to be a U. It's going to be a U, guys. It's going to be a U, but let's not get a W. Or, what happened last time where it went, and then it was a V. Did it again. Yeah. Come on. Apparently there's something about 28.53.
Iwo Severin says if they want to screw shorts, now is a good point.
Yeah. Well, it kind of, we're kind of seeing what I was talking about or looking for before, which was you got a really strong move down based on short-term traders, and then they all take their profits off and it comes back, and then you kind of have to see where it put them at, if they're in a position for them to go down again. And last time it looks like they did, but this time I don't know. This pattern is a little bit different, and the pullback is a little bit more extreme. Powell Q&A, we've learned about inflation behavior with rates low. I see. Unemployment may peak over the next month or so, says Powell.
Kevin Wimmer says our guy M stupid missed nice long signal at 46.50 after we took out the London low. Feels bad, would have been a quick scalp.
Yeah. Well, I took the one and then I quickly realized I was on the wrong side. But now the shorts are coming back. So the issue I've been getting on the shorts is that they haven't been given any room to really catch anything. They just sweep it down all at once. I'm not too sure I can say about that one. I think I can get a short somewhere in here.
Kevin Wimmer says removed my alert because I thought we wouldn't get there until us open. Didn't expect this reversal. My mistake.
They're just kind of chewing it around now. Oh, that was too fast. Okay. So that looks like shorts panicking now.
Iwo Severin says if we get out from value area, I try long.
Well, at the moment, it's starting to look like we could get a bottom there. So let's just see if they pull it out or not.
Iwo Severin says there should be short panic.
I'm feeling a little sleepy. It's a little stuck there at 56. Treasuries came back again, huh? Should be watching this, see if they increase liquidity.
Iwo Severin says I want to see the deep throat of the night. Iwo Severin says they took a lot.
Well, what's going on is they want to close this 5-minute bar above 56. I don't know if you can see how they're fighting it, but you notice how the battles they're shooting it across this price here. Okay. Charts seem to be saying nope. Ugh,
Jacoby OG says,
Bill.
hey Seth, noticing a discrepancy in your volume profile numbers on your DOM. I see different amounts of volume being traded at every price compared to yours. I confirmed my session times are correct.
Well, so if you have a different data provider, if you're using Rhythmic as opposed to CQG, you're going to see slight differences in the volume. The numbers aren't going to match up exactly. I mean, if they're off by like orders of magnitude, like like if you look over here and you've actually seen 30,000 trade at that price, then that's a different thing. But that last one was really frustrating. Like it was hard to get the fill, and then they just blasted it, right? They're gonna do it again here. I'm not certain.
Jacoby OG says differences can be up to 1,000.
Yeah, that might not necessarily be a big problem. There could be a lot of different reasons
Jacoby
for that.
OG says I'm on CQG.
Oh, you're on CQG? Are you really going from the extended session?
Kevin Wimmer says, can the CME please make a recbot like the BitMEX one? Want to know how many people are getting screwed over some moves like the last one.
Okay. I would really like to know what when orders are stop orders. That's what I want.
Jacoby OG says starting at 6 p.m. Ending at 9:29.
I don't think that's right, but we might have slightly different session setups. Dang it. Ooh.
Jacoby OG says roger that.
So I'm not like exact numbers on the volume profile aren't a huge deal anyways, right? A little bit too much trade happening here. Oh, dang.
Lean Umbrella says gold selling very hard.
Gold is selling? That's weird. Dang it.
Lean Umbrella says it
Haven't
can be
been doing
correlated
so
to
good
the
on these
indexes.
fills. I don't know. I mean, the indexes aren't buying though. I wonder if they're getting like another margin call there or something.
Iwo Severin says with gold sell they can cover the SPX lost.
I'm kind of back to, I don't really think that gold is really a good flight to safety mechanism. Like,
Iwo Severin
with
says there
that
was
one.
one time like that SPX went down and they were selling gold heavy as well.
Yeah, that one was a margin call.
Iwo Severin says okay.
Sounds like Powell talking about how they're not going to do negative interest rates. FOMC view on negative rates has not changed, is not looking at negative rates. Fed intends to continue using the tools it already tried. It has. Fed has a good toolkit to respond to crisis, and that is what the Fed will
Lean
be using.
Umbrella says thanks.
Okay, so we got a little bit of time before the open here. Ouch. What's with that click? 28.54, they added some. Okay, they filled them. I'm not so sure that was the right call. But once I'm in it, I'm committed. So it kind of looks like they're still favoring the buyers. Like right there, it's like
Kevin Wimmer says Fed Powell, it is time to announce big changes to our economy. The US dollar isn't working out, gold standard is not an option. But there is light even in the darkest of times, we call it Garlicoin.
I wish multi-billionaire overnight if that's what just happened. If that really happened. 56.50. I'm not convinced that this is just going to turn around. My nose really itches today for some reason. So there's a volatility range stop right there. That's why it's like sometimes they'll go up and do that, and then 5 minutes later come back down the other way. Well, there's a buy if you wanted it. It's too close to the E-mini open to mess with.
Kevin Wimmer says, is Ace still joining the stream? Haven't seen him the last times I was watching.
Nah, so Ace has been helping in a venture, a room of sorts. He's stopping from time to time.
RJ Wheel says, do you really think the SGov would select a current crypto and make billionaires?
Yeah, he's so he's been busy with some other things. I'm still in touch with him though. Then we'll see how it goes, but yeah, you're right. They definitely wouldn't pick an existing crypto, right? They would make their own. Maybe it'll happen someday. Okay, here's the open. Ooh, battle on the open for sure. They bought it up. They sold
Kevin
it down.
Wimmer says BRRRRRRR coin incoming.
Nope, not quite how we wanted it to work out. Nope, that one's wrong. Nice. Oh, this one might be lucky. Woo. The overall cumulative delta is negative at the moment, but it feels like they've been spending more time up there at the top. So who's actually expending more ammunition here? Okay, that was odd.
Gary Rich says, you guys worried over 0.5 to 1% moves. Man, talk yourself off the ledge.
This is like I was saying when we started. The sell yesterday was pretty strong, but all it really does is put shorts in the position to try and make their move and take this down. It doesn't really put them in the spot where it's like, oh man, yeah, this is definitely bad, right? It really is like coming back to the break-even spot between buyers and sellers, really. That one was really good. No, I don't think I'm going to take that one, but oh, that one was probably a bad pick. Yeah. I'm not sure about that one. Woo! Woo! That was a bad pick. For every good pick that I get really bad ones too, so. Yeah, I'll miss that one.
Gary Rich says here's a pattern I'm gonna share. One session takes it up, the next one down, the last one up. All combinations of up, down or up, etc. etc. Apply.
Yeah, that's kind of, I mean, if today ends up being a really negative day, then I think that we could be talking about a trend change, but until then, I'm not sure. Nah, that one's not.
Gary Rich says never say if they, it's always they will.
It's interesting. I don't seem to do very well in the pre-market, but I do okay afterwards. Never say if they, it's always they will. Well, how can I say that? Because I can say if these guys do this, but if these guys do this, I really don't know which one is going to happen. Darn. Bad luck on that one, I think.
Luis Alarid says $200 worth MES now over 400.
$38, was it? Yes. 39. Okay.
Luis Alarid says now 500. Luis Alarid says sell off.
They're trying to pivot here. Let's let them do their thing.
Gary Rich says if you keep saying if they, one can talk themselves out of a trade. Trade what you see, not what you think if
Sure.
they.
Well, I think the issue that I have right now is I can kind of see the longer term setups, but I can't necessarily see if there's a probability about which way it's actually going to turn out. There's a like yesterday, they came down. I could very clearly see that they had touched their 2910 target, the first one, and usually they'll go and they'll touch that and then they'll revert and they'll end the day down, but it's pretty hard to get to that second target in the regular session. And then there was the monthly open below that, which was really far away. So I thought there was going to be a bounce, and there was a bounce. But the bounce was really, really weak. So then they go down, and I'm like, okay, well, let's see how far they went. And that time, they just ended up going so much further than I could have ever expected. Whereas, so many other times where those cells were coming in and we thought it was a big deal, and then they didn't really reach the critical points. So it's like there's definitely a setup there. I can see the setup that matters, but I have no way of I have no edge in being able to predict the outcome. So it's kind of the same here with my scalping actually. I didn't actually so we did get a pivot on the 1 minute chart. So I'm glad that I saw it that time, but it's like if you are trading it in the right direction, you win almost every time. I can kind of see how they think around with it now. Because if you're going short right now, what will happen is they'll come just barely short of your target. Darn, that one sucked. Okay, so that kind of turned things around, right? Oof.
Gary Rich says everything trades inside of a range, it will break up or down, and retrace. Find the range inside of another range and scalp the shit out of that range. Scalper's mentality.
Nope. Oops. Okay, that was a misclick. Wait, what? Okay, I'm gonna take it off here because it's screwed up. No. Okay. So now they're in the price discovery. Maybe I should just sit out for a little bit. What was that? Yeah, okay. Fine. Dang it. See, I know what sometimes I can anticipate that one, but not always.
Baron Glass says S and Dow leading the pack today.
Too late. No. Bad pick. Yeah.
Luis Alarid says falling down hand in hand.
Okay. Right there might be okay, but yeah, see, there it is. And then when they do it, it's like so much further than I would expect that maybe it turns back down. Yeah, okay, fine. Fine. We getting some expansion here? I don't know if that makes sense. Like, they might
Gary
want to
Rich says there's a
extend the
type of
overnight
scalper called
range.
gorilla scalper. Many don't know of this because it's not in books anymore. Scalping off a monthly range is swing trading. Time frames matter for a scalper.
I think I missed that one. Yeah. Well, I might get lucky. I might get lucky. Nope. So close, so close. Ah.
JB says I agree as I scalp.
And then when the buy comes in, it's so much more strong than you'd expect. I don't know, man. What the heck just happened there? Misclick. Mm.
Jacoby OG says think we're shaping up to be range bound for a bit. In between VWAP, 1SD. We'll see if this develops. Ewo Severin says now is the level of neither buyers.
It's funny. I've taken a lot, but because of the overnight action trades, it's still kind of break evenish. Probably if I was going for 8 tickers, I would be in a good spot. I had a little hiccup there on my data again. Okay. Well, it looks like the buyers are trying to pull it out. They've overcome the buying from the open. Where was the open? Oh my gosh. 1,000. Interestingly enough, I didn't get... What the hell? Oh, that's just me. We didn't get bubbles in here.
Gary Rich says everyone loves the illusion of scalping. Many don't properly train or practice to become one. Improve your reaction, response times, and one can anticipate the next probability of a move.
Well, I'm not entirely sure if I'm really seeing the right things or not. There have been some periods where my results have been really good, and there's been some periods where my results have been bad. I think that a lot of it has to do with
Winston's mom
just
says
being on
38
the
watching
right
now.
side.
Will everyone please take a quick second to hit like for Speculators' channel?
Thank you.
Thanks. This helps his channel numbers and he doesn't really like asking for likes.
Thanks. It's not that I don't like ask. I just never remember to talk about that stuff. That doesn't look too good. There was on that one, there was with the first one, and I missed it, and that would have been good. And then I took the second one, and it was okay, but it didn't fill. Nope, nope, nope. You don't want to get filled like that. Dang, same on that one. Those were both bad.
Gary Rich says when one forces a trade, it like taking the fight to them. Sit back, place orders and let it come to you. Forcing a trade just leads to endless frustrations of bitterness. JB says at Gary Rich as 1 point considered scalping. As I usually go with 1 PTS and I am going multi-lot testing a runner. But most of the time I am single lot, until my account grows.
Jeez.
Kevin Wimmer says the thing about scalping is, it is pretty vague. Some people only consider it scalping if it is a 1 to 4 tick move or something like that and mostly on treasuries.
Yeah, it's like most definitions in trading have become too vague to be useful. Dang it. Okay, I think that I'm not getting the edges very well. Yeah. It may also just be that we're becoming a little bit too range
Block
bound.
sell.
Okay. Why would they do that?
Kevin Wimmer says I usually go for 8 to 15 ticks in the Armenian crude oil. Usually only in he trades for several minutes. Sometimes I get those in 1 minute, sometimes 5, sometimes I am wrong.
So I don't
JB says I
know.
won't argue that, it's just a style I have determined I am most comfortable with at the moment.
Well, this is just an exercise. I don't necessarily expect to even come out of this profitable. I'm kind of having a hard time understanding though why I'm doing so terrible just on that last little string. It's like something has changed. I don't know. Or I'm just not catching the edges well enough. I don't know. Oh, come on. Better. Baby's unhappy again. Hmm. Nope. Wrong. Seems like when I miss it and then I stop into it, it ends up being bad. Let's see here. Is there a pattern to... No, not really. That's weird. Okay. Oh, whatever.
Gary Rich says scalping depends on you. When a range or ATR is tight like 10 PTS, I consider getting 10% as a start. It's conservative and anything more is winner chicken dinners.
Bot says VIX range targets this morning are plus 50% 2887.20, plus 100% 2915.90, 50% 2829.80, minus 100% 2801.10.
Hmm.
JB says nice bots.
Missing it again. This is going to be like in a huge outside bar? No. It came close. Hmm. So a lot of absorbing there. Oh, come on. It doesn't get more close than that. That one might have actually filled me. Hmm. The bid came up there. Cool. The initial excursion on that first one was a little bit too lucky, so of course it goes against me. Dang. I guess not. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break. This action is like gotten really messy. Dang. Yeah, that one's a problem. Cool. Kind of looking like they want to make it back to the open. Man, I had a really bad string of losers there though. Really good string of winners and then a really bad string of losers. So I'm not sure that I can chalk. I feel like yesterday I was really on and seeing stuff. I feel like today I'm
Mark LC
not.
says NQ on a roll. Gary Rich says set that chart in the corner, one can scalp that, it's like scalping sugary powder off a fat Monster donut.
Oh yeah, Well, I don't look at it explicitly, but I am kind of using that a little bit because well, I don't really want to go into it, but haven't been using the moving averages as much as I have just been looking at the price movement and
Block
seeing which
by.
side is
RJ
getting.
Wheel says snorting.
Oh, no, that one was bad pick. Might get lucky on it, but that doesn't look. So there's some funky stuff going on in the treasuries. I think they again it turned down actually. I'm not sure it should have given me that one.
JB says Seth, what is that box on your screen that seems to grow and change color? Was red, then blue, etc.
That is a 5-minute candle. Just think of it as a 5-minute candle. So it means
Gary
that
Rich
we're up.
says look how it broke out of the top range. If you placed an order there when it retracted down. Look how it ran, that's a scalper's mentality. Let it come to you.
Hmm. Dang it. I think part of my problem is I've chased a few too many. That would have been a good one if I had.
JB says interesting. Something you coded?
Uh-huh. It's in the no, that one's not good. Damn it. Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, it's in the downloads channel. It's called Multi-Period Candles. John also posted it on Futures.io, although I don't think we have like the latest version. We should probably clean that up. Hmm. I was hoping I'd get a little bit more. Like I know that people are using it, but like
Bot says
nobody's
S
come
on
in and
first
said,
touchback to full session VPOC at 2854.75 and the sellers were all over it like a fat kid on a Smartie. Buyers are lifting the offers through it now.
4650. Oh, I that must be the regular session view up. Why does it do that? Well, the thing is we're just getting to the open again, right? And they're being shy about it again. And I can't tell now all of a sudden. Anyways, I thought that when I posted it that people were gonna like request a bunch of additional features, but it looks like they're either not actually using it or they just kind of have it there and they're happy with it. But I think that there's two versions of it out there. I'm working on cleaning them all up. See, I think that this is kind of the area similar to the area where I took a lot of trades and didn't do very well. Eight. Hmm.
Bot says, have you given any more thought to building the color changes into the multi-period candles to help identify inside bars and outside bars?
Oh, we can add that. That'd be easy to add. It's just a lot of settings, right? One of the things I worry is that people will open up the settings dialog for it and like it'll scare them.
Iwo Severin says okay, have to run, wish you all a lot of green.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for stopping by. Hmm. No. Might still turn out, but that's not really the way that you want that one to happen. They should have broken already.
Bot says we could build the color changes into a couple of true-false enums.
Yeah, we could do that. That would help. Because then the thing is like, do you want to have you know, do you want to be able to control the outline of the bar and the inside of the bar and the transparency for each bar type separately? That's when it kind of starts to get messy. That's why I haven't done it yet. Nope. Right there would have been okay. No? Ah. Hmm. Yeah, I think part of my problem is I'm looking for spots that hold, but they're finding they can push through them a little bit more easily than I would like.
Jacoby OG says this order flow is tough to trade today.
Hmm. Maybe. Or maybe the things that I've been using as my qualifications are just random. Because I'm just what do we say? It's not like there's no rules or anything like that, but it's not like I went and read something that I was like, oh, I know that this has edge and you should be able to scalp this way. No, I know the risk parameters that you should be able to work with. Man, so that one right there is confusing to me. That might just be random though.
Bot says IMO, we should only add the color change to the candle body and the wicks, tails, leave the outlines to up close or down close color choice.
Should make, like I could just make a candle setting type And then, you could just set them for all three of those. So it's not code-wise, we can like do a lot of fancy stuff. It's, will it confuse people?
Gary Rich says coloring everything this or that is silly. Eventually your chart looks like a dog barfed. I know this because long ago I played this silly coloring crap. I dropped the BS of my charts.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that John wants to know if a bar is an inside bar or an outside bar. Which sometimes the coloring can help. Like on the 1 minute chart, I think the coloring helps, but I don't really find it useful the way that, like on this 5 minute, I know I can see what this bar is compared to the last one, and I'm only looking at 2 or 3 bars anyways. So something that I think might be happening to me is because I'm clearing things. So let's change this. Clear current trades on new position. I'm going to get rid of that. I think that might be deceiving
Jay
me a little
Constant
bit.
says Bitcoin never does what I want. It's so bullish now. JB says I did too. I have gotten better as I have simplified my charts and style.
But I feel like this chart over here, this upper right one, is like too messy. Not that I've been looking at the chart a whole lot this week. Okay.
Jay Constant says everybody said BTC gonna dump after having, and of course everybody was wrong.
Well, I don't know if the trade is really over yet, though. I don't know if it'll dump. I just think the idea that like this is like a great risk reward position to enter into anything is really kind of silly. No.
Gary Rich says I don't need coloring bars of AX time. I use horizontal lines from back time frames, simple and easy. Lines versus colors, one decides. I've moved on and glad to do so.
Well, I have lines. This chart over here is lines. On this chart, though, with the background, it's really good. Why don't you show us? You can come on and you can show us what your chart looks like if you want, Gary. We can do that. You just like if you
Bot
send
says
me a
I
message.
think we should invite Gary to
Oh,
come
there
on
you
here
go.
for a morning and share his screen while he's trading his live account.
You just got to like we can do it through TeamViewer so that you get the quality so that people can see your screen. But then you could come in and you could show it if you wanted. I understand if you don't want to though, because I mean, first of all, talking to a bunch of people is scary. But then second of all, you don't want to like reveal all your secrets, right?
Gary Rich says I was property trained in technical analysis. I'm old school. Gary Rich says properly.
It's a lot right there.
RJ Wheel says I don't care if it's live. Sim is fine. If he's doing it
Yeah.
in front of people, it's live enough for me.
Well, as long as you're using a sim that takes into account the queue, I'm okay with it. The issue is what some people will trade on sim and they're using something where their fills are not only inaccurate but lead them into trades that simply won't work live. Whereas on the like Jigsaw in particular is more stingy than it should be. So the Jigsaw sim actually kind of teaches you to be more cautious than you need to be. I don't know if this is particularly good for the Bulls right now. Because
Bot says
they
a Gary
can't
Rich
get over the
trained in
open.
technical analysis, not so much in spelling rolling on the floor laughing.
RJ Wheel says I find my amp sim is pretty close to my live.
And well, no, it all has to do with either your data provider or your platform. So if you're using like the Rhythmic or CQG simulated feed, those are
Gary Rich
bullshit.
says here's a thought, do you see prop traders using all colors and cluttering their charts? No.
I mean, I think the coloring is mostly just a personal preference, really. But I'm trying to think back because when I saw those things, I didn't
Ralph says
understand
talk
most
to
of the
me,
stuff
I
they had
talk
on their
back, let's
charts.
talk money, I talk that, shoddy buy you a drink. RJ Wheel says my point is if one of us goes in front of everyone there's a lot of pressure to perform. That creates the tension of live trading.
I think the focus on whether you do a color or not is kind of a little bit silly, right?
Ralph says sorry, wanted the robot to say that.
Oh, okay. The question is whether a bar is an inside bar or an outside bar really that significant? That's the real question. And then, is this if you can choose to highlight it on your screen any way that whatever works the best for you. But there were still kind of had some question, like I can definitely see that there's something about them, like the market reacts to them, but I'm not sure. I haven't been able to really truly find a reliable edge off of them. And this action is chippy. This is the counter trend by time period, so probably it's better for me to stay out, huh? Wait, Donald Trump said this? When did he say this? 4 minutes ago. When the so-called rich guys speak negatively about the market, you must always remember that some are betting big against it and make money off of it
Gary
if it
Rich
goes
says
down.
I will say this bots has good stuff. I understand his methodology.
Cool.
He is good.
Some are betting big against it and make money if it goes down. Then they go positive, get big publicity, and make it going up. They get
RJ
you both
Wheel
ways.
says
Fairly
it's
legal.
not colors. The experts don't have 4 P@Nels of indicators underneath. 4 indicators is the same as waxing a car 4 times in one afternoon. Shiny is shiny.
So if you look at mine, because this chart is pretty messy right now, right? So this is the tick. And if you want to call that an indicator or not, I think it matters. And then these are all level 2 things. These 2 things down here actually can give me some really good clues, but only sometimes. So like right there, it kind of told us bottom. And then, I have the 15-minute bars behind me. So this just helps me keep track of different time frames. So what color it is, I don't think really matters. In fact, for the ones behind, I don't think I would really use that feature. But John wants that feature. We can set it up for him. There's no reason not to. And then I just have a couple of moving averages on here to kind of keep me in line.
RJ Wheel says I meant 4 oscillators. Jay Constance says why is everything pumping so much? Even Elon Musk said Tesla was too high a week ago. The Fed printed so much fake money in the market. It's like a balloon but it's still pumping. It never does what I. Jay Constance says expect.
Join the club.
RJ Wheel says the tick isn't an indicator of that sort.
I mean, it is. I mean, so try and use my terminology. Just for the sake of discussion, try to come
RJ
on to my
Wheel
level.
says
Right?
I've seen guys with 4 MACDs.
To me, any data that is derived from the market is technical analysis. That's the conclusion. I've concluded that for the sake of discussion, the most useful definition of technical analysis is data derived from the market. So is tick an indicator? Yes, it's data derived from the market. Now it is not data derived from price.
J. Constance says so many jobs lost in economy pumping.
Yeah, well, I think that they were all trying to front run the Federal Reserve buying corporate debt ETFs.
J.
Notice,
Constance says, what is this for shit?
isn't it interesting that the day that program goes live is when they decide to start selling again? So far, at least. Maybe they pull this out and it becomes a positive day. Yeah. And they got me on that one.
Ralph says, are jobs lost or just on hold?
Well, that's a good question too. I think that some of those jobs aren't coming back. At least not immediately. So where was that?
JB says lost. JB says at least some.
Okay. Probably should have sold that, but
Ralph says, what if 30 meters on hold and 3 meters lost?
I think I'm falling to the adverse excursion. Yeah, it's starting to get bad. Like, oh wow, some of those were really bad.
JB says, and I am talking white collar jobs in my workplace and not eligible for the programs the Fed is pushing. RJ Wheel says airline
Yeah.
entertainment food and bev. My guess 30 PCT lost for a generation.
Yeah, for
J.
a
Constance
while.
says this is so fake it's more criminal than tether printing.
More. I don't think it's fake. I think that different markets
JB says
are
lol.
receiving different information, and you're going to have divergence between markets. That's what I think is going on. Okay. Oh, I missed that one.
RJ Wheel says I still think commercial real estate collapse is going to be a tipping point. Gary Rich says well duh the Fed, NY Fed, Treasury posted this pumping on their sites but no one bothers to search. J. Constance says the Fed printed another fake 3 trillion and now everything going up.
So did Powell just say something there? What's Twitter saying? I don't see anything. It's interesting. I tell you what, Donald Trump, he's got impulse control issues. Why do you tweet that? The market. So this is interesting
Gary
to
Rich
me.
says who cares about if it's legal or ethical? They will do it not matter what we think or considers.
You got one bad sell day in the market, and Donald Trump is clearly agitated about it. I don't want to use the words like it's under his skin or anything, but he chose to tweet about it after only a day. Well, they finally turned blue, so there's that. Blue, green, whatever color you use.
3 IDET says Q, Seth, are you trading for a living or do you also have a day job?
No, I have a day job. In fact, right now we're not live trading. I tend to stop live trading in May.
RJ Wheel says well put Seth. His impulses are a problem.
He's ADHD. I'm almost positive that he's ADHD. in his mind, what he just said is like super important for people to know, but like in reality, is it really like everybody thinks these
Jay
things?
Constant says I think Korea getting nuked and totally destroyed.
Oh, come on, Jay Constant. I think there's a difference between saying
RJ Wheel says take the smartphone out of his hand and take the chopper talks away, and his presidency is Reagan-esque.
Like there's a difference between okay, PE multiples are the highest that they've ever been, and so that makes buying
Block
stocks
sell.
at this moment a poor risk reward proposition. That's analytical versus, you know, these banksters pumping everything up. It's not fair. They should be in jail. Blah blah. That's not really helpful, you know. No offense. I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm just trying to point out the sort of attitudes. Like, look at the way that people have been really successful and the way that they talk about markets versus just your average Joe. Look at the way that Jeffrey Gunlock, for instance, talks about the market, because he's not happy about what's happening right now, is he? But he still has a way of saying it. Look at the way that Warren Buffett talks about the market, because he's not bullish either. And yet, when he had his investor conference, Bowles found plenty of reasons to think that he was. Oh, geez, I missed that one. So yeah, it's, you know, try and think like the successful people.
Gary Rich says y'all need to get to be a cynical thinker with
He's
markets.
really going now.
Do good things after you make your money. Square the karma is what I call it. Jay Constance says they discovered several codes in the Torah. 911 was a code there. And it says
Okay.
Korea destroyed. Watch the God code. Ralph says would it be fair to say that the economy and markets are disconnected? Also, you see so many people mad it's going up because they are getting squeezed.
Well, it's not just that. Like, so let's back up here for a second. I don't really like what just happened. So I took a couple of good scalps off of it, and I think I should kind of sit back for a second and let it readjust. Okay. So yeah, and let me remove this. Okay. So where are we? Volume profile. Okay. So here's the E-mini. They had a pretty good push down, but they didn't make it to the target. Now they're pushing up, and we'll see if they start attacking the other side. Where was it that John said we were on the upside? 2887. Doable. Okay. Anyways. So that's equities, right? Treasuries. So yesterday, treasuries preceded the move, but they were really just coming back into their range. Whereas when you look at the E-mini, that looks like a complete disaster, right? Oil was down big. And up and down big. They're all doing their own thing. So you see, correlations are breaking because there's so much unusual information, right? The probabilities right now are so uncertain. The things that matter the most to different markets are so different that they can just diverge, and it will take a long time for them to come back into alignment. And you're kind of seeing some of these robots and stuff that trade on correlations and stuff aren't doing as well this quarter, based on an article I read from Futures Magazine. So is it fair to say that the economy and the markets are disconnected? I don't think that that's the way that I would phrase it. I would say that correlations are breaking down and not as useful. So I can only say that the economic data right now doesn't look very good, but that is backwards looking. The market has been looking pretty good, but there are signs of fractures in that. And then when I look at a valuation perspective, it just doesn't make sense to buy stocks right now. And that's all we can say, quantitatively speaking. I could get mad about that Federal Reserve is pumping it up or whatever, but it doesn't really help me. If that makes sense.
RJ Wheel says S to 877. Then if clears it 900. J Constance says the more I know about the world the more sad I get. Everything looks bad if I dive into it. Is it me?
Then maybe I shouldn't be so anxious to jump in there where everybody else was.
Ralph says quit diving into it.
Well, that wasn't bad. It looks like I'm kind of in the middle of a war that I don't want to be a part of, though. I'm supposed to let it go.
JB says not you, J Constant.
Mm.
Ralph says there's so much good in the world. Ralph says look at that.
I tell you what, when they crossed the open, man, I mean, they made a good run for it first of all, but then once they went, just whoosh. Jim Cramer responds to Donald Trump. It's true the rich guys. Hold on. It's true the rich guys are not on to help you. They are on to help themselves. There are so many great American companies that people can invest in that are doing so much for shareholders, and those on the front lines stop scaring people. But that doesn't make any sense either. Okay. That one to me is like Jim Cramer is triggered and doesn't really have a good point, but he says something anyways. That's
Ralph
what that
says
is.
Kramer is the one pumping lol.
Yeah. Are you the one pumping? Well, I think that Jim Cramer knows that as a widely watched analyst, that anything that he knows is going to get, that he mentions is going to get manipulated. That's why if you read his books, which are very good, and I would highly recommend actually, he like straight up says this. He says, if I mention a stock on this show, don't buy it that day. He straight up says, like, that just means, okay, it's a good company, but it's probably not a good time to get it right now because there'll be too much interest in it. So let it, let that die down. And then if it comes back to a reasonable valuation, then you can buy it. I think you kind of have to trade differently if everybody's watching. Anyways. But Donald Trump is concerned because the market turned down for one day. So is Donald Trump trying to scare people, or is he really, trying
Gary
to...
Rich says another lesson. Algo are out there with every ta move possible. That's why they say it was a technical move. Think about it. They seek to hunt and hunt to seek. Apex predators at their best.
It seems to me that they load every technical analysis indicator they can into the robots and are testing them. As I've said, for a long time, dealing with China is a very expensive thing to do. We just made a great trade deal. The ink was barely dry, and the world was hit by a plague from China. 100 trade deals wouldn't make up the difference in all those innocent lives lost.
J. Constance says thanks, guys.
I wonder what it is that's getting him talking about that stuff. Anyways, I believe that any indicator that is currently existing that is based on price or volume is probably already being gamed out by algorithms.
J Constant says 90% of the universe is made out of dark matter BTC.
Once I pulled up
J
NinjaTrader
Constant says, by the way,
and I could run a back test with the robot randomly figuring out strategies from every indicator on my system, you kind of have to sit down and say to yourself, okay, how do I generate alpha in that situation? Don't think that you can. I think we need to look elsewhere. A way of detecting trapped traders that the rest of the market doesn't see.
RJ Wheel says J Constant, go back and look what Predictor said about Y2K, they sell doom. Don't buy it.
I don't know about that one. I remember when Y2K happened and there was like pop culture stories about it, but everybody that was serious was saying, yeah, it's nothing bad is going to happen. Since we already know about it. And everybody's already aware. Cool.
Ralph says, have you seen profitable strategies? Not just talk in chat rooms, but legit people making money.
I have.
Bot says nice directional clues from Vix this morning.
I have, but they come and go. You know what I mean? So I've seen many where they'll straight up show me the strategy.
RJ Wheel says, right. But the alt guys were selling survival kits and then after Y2K they disappeared.
Right, because we got so many people here in chat. So people will share their edge with me and we'll keep it a secret and I'll use it. And what I often find is that the signal that individual is using is not as reliable as they believe it is, which is to mean that like they've been doing really well with it the last 3 months, but now it's going to turn and it's going to lose every time. That happens so often. And I'm not talking about people that just came into chat and said like, oh yeah, I'm doing this and it's profitable. Like I'm talking about people that like showed me their statements and have come in and made the live calls many times. Sometimes the problem is that it's just really well suited to them, and when I try it, it doesn't really work. That happens all the time. Because there's always that discretionary part of it that they know when to not trade it. That's the way that most signals work, is you kind of get something that has a, when you get the move that you want, it always happens, but not every time that it happens do you get the move that you want. And you have to know which one to take, and somehow they know how to filter it, and they intuitively know how to filter it, and they can't explain it. It happens a lot. But more often than not, the reality is that what they believe is profitable isn't actually profitable if you go on a high enough time frame. Like they've been doing it for like 3 months, and then when you look at it historically over 2 years or 5 years, it really doesn't actually work. It just happened to be a correlation that they found in that particular market. Happens all the time. But another thing that I find is that a lot of the successful traders don't actually understand where their edge is coming from. They believe that their edge is coming from their entry, but it's not. It has to do with how they decide to get out and how they manage the risk. Usually it has to do with how they manage the risk. So yeah. What else can I say? But you just got to remember that it's competitive, right? So it's you against the market, and you've got to have an edge. You got to know who you're trading against and have something that gives you an advantage in that particular situation. So like what we're doing right now, this is why I keep saying like, well, we're practicing to kind of build something, but I'm not sure that this alone can be a profitable strategy because who am I really trading against? I'm trading against robots, right? They're very fast, and I don't know if you know what I'm seeing is even really truly an edge, but we're just practicing and playing it out to try and see if we can minimize the adverse excursions that we get. Now, today took so many, but didn't really work out. I get strings of losers and then strings of winners. Some of that might just be being on the wrong side. Maybe I need better ways of telling who has control. It's my bleeding here. Anyways,
Bot says many times it's their ability to manage their risk.
Ralph
that
says, what do
too.
you do wrong in your trading? RJ Wheel says, I agree, Ralph. The golfers on the PGA aren't the best golfers in the world. They are the best golfers at handling pressure and playing in front of crowds and live TV. Jay Constance says, I am a beginner and everything I do turns out to be the opposite almost.
Bot says musical notes, know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Musical notes.
Yeah. See that the issue that I continue to have because if I go back to the trades that I was making last week, because we did have some success with it over that two week period, it was profitable and actually amazingly successful, except for you get into some rangy areas where I start to tilt. I don't know if that's a function of the strategy or if it's just me, but that's kind of why it kind of was like need to take a step back from it because it's not quite enough edge. I don't think. But how can you even say that it's your ability to perform under pressure if you don't even know if the thing that you're looking at is actually a reliable edge? And if it is a reliable edge, how are you going to know when it's not a reliable edge anymore? So I can like pick these great spots, but then like I'll get 8 ticks and then that's it. And then sometimes it'll go 40 ticks. Know how to tell which one it is. I get the signal. The signal has happened. Now we're in a spot. Now what do I do? What is the thing that I'm supposed to see after that? Because anything can happen at that point. And the things that happen after that point are pretty good chance that they're not going to have any relationship to the things that got you into it. So, I can use statistical properties about range, but when I've done that, it didn't seem to work out. So that's one spot where I really, really need to try and find an edge over that. But then I think that we also need to think logically about it and try and pick where our edges really are, where we're going to find the most fertile ground for edge.
Ralph says, trade 2, scale 1, move 1 to B, E, hold 1.
Mm-hmm. The problem is you have the one that you hold, but it's when you take the one that you hold off. Because if you're taking 2 and you have them both at the same stop, so you're taking on twice as much risk, and then let's just say that you take equal reward and then you take the one off. So if you don't get your second contract filled and it goes to break even, then you just kind of do okay. And if it hits your stop, you're losing more. In order for that to work out, you really need your runners to run sometimes. And if you let the runners come back too much, then it still doesn't work. I've had a lot more success with you get a little bit in your favor and then you see the signal again, and so you take a second contract and let that one run a little bit. Or you just, that second contract, you make it as a scalp and now you have all this room.
Kevin Wimmer says, scalped my 15T in crude, got lucky and got filled at the high lull. Else it would have been a break even.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, and the problem is that if based on the way the oscillations go for the time period that we trade, if you don't get out at the right spot, you're giving up almost half of your profits. So it usually doesn't end up being profitable in that situation. You have to know when to get out. It seems to me that you have to know when to get out, man. There's been a couple of spots where they've been trading with thousands in the E-mini. Anyways, order flow is one place where I think that I have more fertile ground than technical analysis because the robots are going to game all of that. If I'm going to do technical analysis, it's going to have to be my own indicator, and it's going to have to be something really complicated. So that's why we've got these histograms. These histograms are something that is complicated and only I have, and appears to tell us some things.
Kevin Wimmer says, and it can be so fast. Just a few seconds between nice 15-tick winner and stopped out.
Right?
Gary Rich says, hey, one can jack off by themselves and go live with a woman. Totally different experience. Where's my edge? I think and figure it out.
So, anyways, I've just been going back to the one place where I feel like my live time is invested best right now, which is trying to scalp. So I tried to
Bot
do
says in order
the
to know
most
when to
pure
get out,
scalping.
you first need to understand how to identify where your risk is.
I mean, my risk is where my stop is at, right? But there's that thing is okay. So do you have an edge that tells you that that particular price down there isn't going to trade? So usually my back testing says no.
Gary Rich says exactly at bots.
Bot says not just where your stop is at.
Gonna have to elaborate then. They're trying to turn back up again, but I don't know.
Bot says risk is also where you're projecting your target to be.
Well, every once in a while you might run into a situation where you are putting your target up in a spot that's just probably not going to hold. Most trades that we take, though, I don't think that's really the case. Outside bar. Not as clear there as I thought it would be. Oh, icky, icky. Right up through that liquidity vacuum they caused.
Bot says the difficulty is in recognizing when the move toward your target is failing, and doing it in a live trade is difficult due to your emotions.
I don't think it's just difficult due to your emotions. There's not there's only certain areas where you're going to have an edge, and there's no way to guarantee that you're going to have that edge when it's going, on that move after your initial entry, right? Exits are a completely different game. Okay, well, they're trading a bunch there. Mess with that area. Like let me put it a different way. So you go through and not live, but just identify every
Bot
move that's
says it's not
failing,
your emotions.
and identify every trade that's failing, and how often can you actually correctly do that. You're not going to predict every single one, but in order to effectively get out of your trade with that kind of a strategy, that's what you would need to be able to do.
Kevin Wimmer says the worst thing for me is turning a winning trade into a loser. OFC, not talking about being 1 to 2 ticks in the money. More like 10 ticks plus. That's why I usually move it to break even if I want more. Gary
Well,
Rich
that's a good
says if you
idea.
keep thinking I need an edge, one will keep searching for that so-called edge. It's just filling a void of so-called I need an edge.
Okay, so what, Gary? You should just take trades because you feel like it? That sounds like a platitude that sounds really great when you say it out, but doesn't really say anything.
Gary Rich says yes.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that discretionary trading is just what you feel like. That's not. No. Sounds like a good way to lose money. Sounds to me like what 90% of traders try to do. Mm, That one's not going. Not yet, at least.
Gary Rich says well I have 20 years and 16 years managing. So I never claim to have an edge. When you get to 10 years come lecture me.
Hmm.
Kevin Wimmer says an edge doesn't have to be a setup. It's also how you manage getting into the trade and getting out of the trade. Not jumping in at worst price aka chasing price. Not moving your stop and so on.
Just because you have experience doesn't mean that you have an effective way of sharing that with other people. Like I don't see the I need to pay attention. Mm, That's not good. What, they didn't fill that? Okay, whatever. Scratched it.
Gary Rich says it would be advisable to take lesson from a seasoned veteran. Not one from a rookie.
Okay, so
Bot says I get the feeling you're in an argumentative mood
I
this morning,
am.
Mr. Seth.
I am. Oh well, it's not that. It's just I here's something that's useful. Okay? When X condition happens, this is where you take the trade. When X condition happens, that means that you can stay in it. When X condition happens, that means you should take it off. Those are useful things. Saying, what was it? If you keep thinking, I need an edge, one will keep searching for that so-called edge, is just filling the void of so-called I need an edge, means nothing. What does that really mean? That you shouldn't work to try and get your trading better? Doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry, dude. You might have a lot
Gary
of
Rich says no I
experience.
am not. I'm tough and seasoned. It annoys me when a rookie of 3YS talks like a 20 years veteran.
So first of all, I don't think you've ever proven that to me. Yeah, you can't talk like that. You haven't put out a statement to me to prove that. First of all. And second of all, doesn't matter how much experience you have. If you're saying nonsense things, they're nonsense things. That's like a lot of talk and not a lot of like proof of walk, right? You could come on, I could show you could show people, like you can come on and we can use TeamViewer and I will just sit and listen to you and ask questions and you can say whatever you want without argument from me and show people how you think that it should be traded if you want to do that. But like, if you want to say that sort of stuff, then actually say things that help people instead of giving meaningless platitudes that literally don't tell you anything. Okay, well, that little rant there prevented me from probably taking a couple of bad trades there, I think, because they moved down there, but it wasn't actually enough to.
Gary Rich says, okay, jerkwad. Sign my NDA.
I would.
Why?
Yes.
Because I can be sued for millions. You want to pay my lawyer fees.
Okay. So if you can show me a statement, and I would sign an NDA, of course. On the understanding that I would verify your profitability. And don't do something that would get you in trouble for sure. But certainly, if you're managing things, you have ways of verifying your performance to the people that you're managing the money for, right? Or are you saying, well, I can't necessarily show you the things? And that's fine too. But then it's kind of like, okay, but where can we look? Because I don't know. If you ever talk about it to anyone and I can see it for any reason, sure. You're talking about your performance, sure. Yeah, it would be. I see it, and the only thing that would ever be said is on the stream, verify that you're profitable, and that's pretty much it. And all you would have to show me is the last year. So we can say, Gary is confirmed over the last year, this was his performance. Then bulls are coming back in a little bit. I don't know. The treasuries didn't really like. I mean, they're up, but not like. Well, they did kind of turn at the same time. Up, but not dramatically. Did we? Sorry, I think we must have lost our thing. Oh, maybe not. Not quite. It's getting close though. I'm gonna turn off. I think we could keep going for another 30 minutes. It's still moving. Things are getting pretty heated in here. Where's the fun atmosphere? I don't know. It's just when I push back against Gary, he sure gets upset about it. But it's like, okay, here's what I want to do. I want to trade for 2 hours in the morning on a futures product, minimal risk. Where are the places that I can find edge to make some money? Now I've gone through and I've had periods where we found those things and then it'll kind of disappear. You know, that happens. That tends to happen in a market, right? So then you say, oh, you're so lost. Okay, what should I be doing? You're saying you're saying shit and talking shit without actually producing anything useful. As far as I know, you're just some asshole on the internet that talks big and doesn't know jack shit. Because honestly, you're just some guy in chat. No offense, dude. You've been around, you have given us useful information, but I can't verify any of that. And then you're going to say something useful, but I don't think that you've given me anything that I can actually formulate a trade off of. Not on my time frame, at least. The vixing was useful. So I guess my point is more like from the perspective of, okay, let's just assume that you're being truthful, and I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Okay, be that you have been able to do it doesn't necessarily mean that the things that you are saying are going to be useful towards helping other people to do it. And what I'm asking you to do is to think about that and say, are the things that I am saying really the most useful thing to help other people and to help the channel? Because I kind of feel like that some of the things that you're saying sound like nonsense. Kevin says, if you ever trade crude, I can give you some tips. Well, I mean, anything that you might see in the order flow of crude could be useful in this situation. So, that one's not going to work out. He says, you wouldn't listen to me if you had anyway, even if I verify. If I had a specific plan, because that's what we did last week, right? I had a specific plan about what I'm looking for and where to get in and out. And I would 100% do it. And I wouldn't say anything about how I'm doing it. I would still do a live, but I wouldn't explain why I'm doing it. And I would 100%, the plan is written out, and I would do 100% what you say to do. Because even if you were full of crap, I think that that's a useful exercise just to follow a plan that specifically. You know what I mean? Gonna see a trade. Well, so the gist of what I'm looking at is in the E-mini, you'll notice that the orders tend to be more so in one direction. And then there will be little spots where they absorb, but do you see how eventually the orders will try and push through it? Okay, and then there's a little turn. So now I'm seeing orders go this way. That one's probably not good risk reward because that's kind of the bottom of this zone, yeah. So there's kind of this weird balance between the orders going through and the spots where they're going to stop. And sometimes when you're getting enough momentum, okay, that one was a little bit too much momentum on the backwash. Sometimes when you're getting enough momentum, you might find spots where you can kind of safely catch it. But we're still testing it. What we're doing is an exercise and not something that I can verify has strong edge. I guess another thing is that from what I've seen, the things that Gary has done have been more with options, right? You don't have crude live. No, I do. Is it not up? I think it's there. Maybe not. Oh, here it is. There's the crude. How did that one fill? Wow. It's kind of, the range is kind of decreasing now though, once I caught that one. So here's where I think that next week I would break even on these. Is it the wrong contract? Oh, you're probably right. I don't actually have to watch that. I can just kind of. Actually. Oh, it just barely. It was fairly recent. Oh, and that one worked out, yeah. The N1 has more volume before the rollover, really? Okay. There we go. Yep, it was new for me too. You've never seen that, to be honest. Yeah, that last one did work. See, it's a little too streaky. I think that some of these are like, some of these were like, maybe I got lucky. Okay, like this one right here, for instance. That one I got unlucky. Okay, but some of these ones, they are almost completely against me. So there was more momentum there than I expected, and they came through. So there's kind of this issue of judging them. Sometimes they'll set something up like that, and you take it, and then they'll come in, they'll slash right through it. And I'm not sure how to predict when those are going to happen. So that's kind of the game we're playing right now. Just watch the 927 to 935 your time. Well, yeah, that's the EIA report, isn't it? Oh, maybe not today. There's a bond auction today at 11. Kind of looks like maybe they're going to turn back up again. Anyways, where was I going earlier? Help improve yourself, not other orders. A 3-year-old trader give me a rate. In fact, you would like to predict what year you make 50% of your salary. I can. Probably it would be a long time. But again, Gary, I I don't know. I I'm trying to give you like a feedback without trying to, because I know when you kind of like attack somebody, they kind of fight against it, all right? But what I'm trying to get across is like, so if you're trying to help people, and really what we're trying to do is we're trying to make everybody better, right? You have to be able to get on their level and give them logic and reason and explanations about things that would be helpful and useful to them, right? So you know me saying I'm so good at this and I've been doing this for so long is the worst way to convince me of anything. What convinces me of something? You can actually use logic. You can actually sit down and you can say, okay, you should focus your efforts in this location for this reason. But that's not what you're saying. You're saying, well, I really know what I'm doing and you don't. Okay, cool. Then you're useless to me because you're not telling me anything useful. That's how I feel about it. That's how I feel. And you continue to argue with me about it. I can only think at this point that you're just trying to troll me. Did you ask Mr. Grady for all of his transactions before buying his stuff? Okay, good question. So before I bought it, I did do a little bit of verification, but as far as I know, I don't know enough about his most recent activity. And I don't really think that if you go and you'll read his book and you use the things that you do in his book, that would be a profitable strategy. But what it did do was it did help me understand what or level 2 is. So in that instance, and it's really the best resource in that respect. So but I guess that's kind of besides the point, right? The point isn't, I mean, I would like you to prove it, sure, but I would also like you to actually give something useful, because you're not saying useful things right now. You're just trying to argue that you're better than everybody, which is like, okay. Right? Because let me back up. Because there's this thing, and I have a thought in my head, and I'm like, this is the thing that I'm trying to get to you, and then my ADHD comes in and pulls me off track for a second. Okay, so let's kind of walk back to how we get here. Okay, I had a really good profitable time period. Usually between January and March it works well, and then summer doesn't work very well. So then I'm ready to come in, and I come in September and have a little bit of success, and then things started getting crazy, right? So when things got crazy, I made a few bad decisions, and so I had to back off from that. Market changed. We come back. Things calmed down a little bit. I've had a little bit of success with some things, but not enough success with those things, with those new things to feel confident doing it. And the things that gave me success in the past, I could have some success with those, but I know that there are some issues with the drawdowns and things like that. So I don't necessarily want to be focusing on those edges anymore. So the only goal is we want to trade for 2 hours. We want minimize risk. We want to use futures, and that's it. So the whole thing is we're looking for new places that we can try and find some edge. And what are the places that we should be focusing our efforts? So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to learn the flow of the E-mini better, and that's why I'm just taking 1 point at a time, and I don't expect to come out profitable for it, but just that after doing this for a while, I should get a really good feel for where it moves, and that could help me improve. And I think so far it has a little bit help me improve my order placement in the E-mini at the very least, because I don't know where else I want to look at next. Okay, so you can make a suggestion, right? You can say, I think that you should study X thing. And I would go and do it 100%, because you've been around and you've been a good supporter and you've been useful, and you've been a good supporter, and I really appreciate having you around. But I'm really frustrated with you right now too, because I feel like that you're just kind of shitting around for your own ego's sake and not actually being useful. So yes, that was kind of the point. So it's up to you. You don't have to. That's true. I've never steered anyone wrong on my calls or market postings for others to think. That's true. I agree with you on that, Gary. I don't think that you've ever given me something that I looked into it and I found out that it was bullshit. That's true. I'm just kind of saying I would appreciate if there's something that you think I should be doing or looking into, then I would love to do that. But if you don't want to do that, then just shut the fuck up. And that's okay too, because I understand that you don't, you have your own things and you don't necessarily want to share things, and I understand that too. But if that's the way that it's going to be, I don't need you to come in and be being an asshole. That's all. That's all. So it's your choice. Your choice. If you don't want to do that, then you can come in and you can just say fun stuff like you do, and that's great. And we love to have you here. Just don't be a dick. Okay, so they turned back down really quickly there, didn't they? I kind of, I missed it. I like that one too. Well, that one didn't turn. Still looks okay though. Like, I think it's gonna be close. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Kevin says, I think you should study the EU settlement in crude oil. The EU and US session went one, which is like, oh, that's outside of my time frame, Kevin. Remember, the three qualifications is that it's got to be between 6:20 and 8:30 basically is the time frame. Maybe 9:30, but like I don't think that I'm going to be able to trade till 9:30 forever. Even though it sure seems like this coronavirus thing is going to last forever. But that's probably outside of my time frame, Kevin. Plus, then the number two thing is we want to minimize risk, because certainly can't do that in oil. The EU one at 9:30. Okay. They're still pushing there. Like he's saying I can get that right there. Guess not. Well, that didn't quite work out the way that I wanted, but I still got it. Sure. Honestly, 8 tick stop for a quick scalp in the sum and open 1 minute chart. Maybe you gotta set it today. I'll post charts, and of course, those who can't think it out will always give me crap. Why? It's on them, not me. Right. And see, that's the thing where I'm kind of getting at, Gary. It has been my observation that many of the people that are really good at this sort of a thing aren't very good at explaining it to other people because it's a different kind of mindset. Wow. Which is okay, but it's something that I think you can develop, and something that I think that if you develop, it would be really useful to a lot of people, and a lot of people would appreciate it. You don't have to do it, but that's where I'm getting at. Is like you can post a chart. I'm willing to put the effort in, right? Like that's the thing is like maybe you should put your efforts on trying to learn to trade the counter trend period between 10:15 and 10:45 every day. Okay, so that's a good suggestion. People that are really successful don't care what others think. I get it. That's why I have to always append it with, it's his choice, because we're really, if he really does have something useful to teach us, then I will, because I want to learn anything that can give me the edge in the market. I'm willing to sit and learn it, as long as they're not asking ridiculous amounts of money and shit like that, right? So if he is, I asked you if you could create another room in Discord for books. So so I don't remember that, Gary. So I must not have understood what you were saying. So are you saying that you want a separate channel there where you just put the books? Oh, I don't think I can do that. I think you're saying that you want to upload the books. Well, okay. So first of all, yeah. So if you want to send people books, we can't do that above the table, right? We'd have to figure out something different to do that. if if people would have to PM you and I don't know. I can't condone such activity. So if you have free things that are freely available but they're too big to put in Discord, then I think you need to use Nitro. Okay, so let's look that up. $10 a month. How does it work? So if you have Nitro, you can upload larger files, but I don't know how that works. You'd probably be better off just uploading it to one of those like mega upload kinds of websites and just passing people the link if that's what you wanted to do. Or, quite frankly, just tell me which book you want me to read and I'll go buy it. I'm not a reader. I can only read one book at a time. But you give me one book to read, I'll buy it on Amazon and go read it. Just tell me. Oops, I need to pull this up. I don't like the way that one is working out. This is going to come too close, right? I'm like, I really want to just like break even on it, but I'm supposed to let it. I guess I can reverse. I don't know if the reverse makes sense here, though. Okay. Well, the first target was like, what, 28.20? Al Brooks price action. A lot of people have been talking about that stuff. I guess that is probably one thing that I should investigate more because that seems to be, I don't know if, because it's so popular, that might be, yeah. Because it's so popular, it might be hard to find a really good edge in there, but it's also so popular that I feel like you probably need to see it to understand a lot of context from things. So I like posting book ideas. I have a ton I probably should reread. I'm sure I have a different understanding than, say, 10 years ago. Oh, wow. You've been doing it for a long time, JB. I didn't know that. I didn't know you'd been doing it. Well, maybe you told us that and I just forgot. That's the only thing I've seen recommended from people that you trust? Really? Well, I mean, I know he's been on Futures IO, and I watched one of his webinars, and I thought that was interesting and good stuff. Yeah, buyers are trying to pull it out here, so I could try and play this range, but maybe we just say, hey, we got a couple of good ones there. Oh yeah, we really did. It seems to me, maybe like if we look at my losers today, maybe 10-20% of them were maybe bad picks, but I think that the thing that's really killing me is in certain spots I don't actually have clear enough indication of the trend to be trying to take the trade. Yeah. I guess another thought that I had during all of that I didn't share was there is certainly still some psychology issues when I trade it live because, well, not even when I'm live, but just in general, you notice that I'll make a couple of bad trades in a row. Always. And I don't think that that's just a function of my strategies. I think that when I have a loser, that the chemical change in my brain, we need to figure out a way to battle that a little bit better. This might be an okay short, but the situation, I don't actually know if it calls for it. Where was our downside target? This has been an interesting day. I mean, when they came up above the open, that was pretty strong and aggressive, and then
Block
they
sell.
came back just as hard. Okay, block sell at 8. There's been some big trades in the 10-year. It looks like they're selling it right now. Subsided a little bit. Not really a risk reward location where I think I could really accurately predict what's going to happen, but they kind of look like they think the E-mini is going to turn back up. Wow, lots of volume there. You guys kiss and make up already? Well, it's hard because he's not here right in front of me, so I can't really tell how well he's reacting to it or not. I hope that I didn't hurt his feelings because, like I said, he is a member that I have appreciated a lot. Right. What I'm going on, I don't think it should be read on him. It's probably more of a reflection of me that I'm frustrated by the things that he's saying. The best thing I learned is I prefer to scalp and not to overtrade. Today is a good example that I got my 5 points and now I'm sitting on my hands. Okay, so that's interesting, JB. So you get 5 points and you're taking like 1 point at a time? Is that how you do it? What do you do if you're down though? Is that like you lose 5 points and you stop? Or do you usually make it back and your edge is just good enough that it's not a problem? Yep, for now. So on this one, we came down a little bit and now we've come back to break even again. But it's been a volatile day. I don't think that we can expect that to happen all the time. And really, there was specific time periods. So when were they? Specific time periods. In particular, starting around 8:10. So around the beginning of the counter trend time period, but then the latter half of the counter trend time period, we did good. And then also kind of towards the top of the hour. And then before the open. So many today. Yep, for now, if I have a losing trade, I usually call it a day. Oh, really? So wait, what is your win rate? Is it really hard? I'm not mad at Seth. I've been through this before. I don't take it personally, never have, nor will. Okay, that's cool. Because really, I really think that what this ends up being in the long run is, we bash our head. Might bash my head into something until I see, I don't know. I'm a more stubborn individual than your average person, right? 2 losers max. Wow. So you must be looking for a really high win rate. So then the question is, and it sounded like you were only taking a point at a time. So do you kind of do it the way that I am, which is that you're mostly watching the DOM, not necessarily asking what you look for, but you're mostly looking at the DOM to make your decisions? My win rate is fairly high if I stay patient. Sometimes I have to manage the trade. Oh, okay. I was told that you want like simple. Oh, you have a simple chart. You're using a chart. Okay, so like I guess I'm trying to narrow down like if somebody wanted to trade what you were trading, what would they study to be doing it? So was it like price action? Were you the one that was talking about price action earlier? Or if there's a book that you found really useful. When you say a simple chart, I'm supposing that means that you're basically using price. Turning back down again. Oops, misclick. See if we can manage it out. Okay, cool. Yeah, it still ended up being a loser. That's funny. Darn. That was a bad miss. I don't necessarily want to mess with it right there unless it's really clearly doing stuff. That's too much. Didn't get filled at 26.16 in crude. Guess no settlement trade today. Man, it's really bad when you don't get filled in crude too, right? Okay, is this a hammer? Man. Yeah, outside bar hammer. Okay, some stops there. Oh, come on. Oops. Crap. Okay, we fix it. 29.80, that was it. Well, when they make that initial break, sometimes they got to be careful because it starts to look really bad because the options guys freak out and then it bounces. Ooh, look at that though. Wow. Okay. That's yeah. Nope. I have a very simple automated system in TradeStation to port to Ninja, but finding that harder than I expected. I need a light bulb moment and I'll be fine as I did. Code in a past life. Well, I can help you write stuff. But usually if you already have code in another language, it's pretty easy. I've never done stuff with easy language though. It doesn't look too complicated though. You kind of will run into some weird oddities though that if you don't really understand the platform well can be really hard to figure out, and that's where that's where I found I'm really useful to a lot of people. So I've done that a lot. I've helped 2 people, actually 3 people, move indicators from Thinkorswim into NinjaTrader. I kind of like that spot, but I think that the strong trend where I can like really go for it appears to be kind of over. $9.39. I might keep doing it. The stats here. I'm down 3 trades basically. So it's come out break even today for the most part. So we've had periods where we did great, and then there was that last one, of course, where I took it a bunch of times because I saw the way they were reloading. I was pretty certain that they were going to push it down. Of course, it was really close. Really close. I wonder, can we do? Well, let's see here. Be really quick. Nah, I can't do it. I don't have enough time. Maybe tomorrow. Well, at the end of the week, we'll look at it. Let's just not look at it until the end of the week, and then we'll see what the win rate that we're actually getting is. I'm expecting it to be somewhere around 40, but we did really good yesterday, and then kind of okay today. Okay. Well, you guys, if you want to share more information, like I'm interested to hear more what you have to say, JB and Gary. So if you give me a book, Gary, I'll go buy it. But you guys can both message me on Discord. So I will see you guys tomorrow. We keep doing this all week. We can change around next week if we want to, but we're gonna at least do it for this week. Okay. And so I'll see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.